And we're up at the start line in the ladies' challenge plate in the Berkshire station on the left-hand side of your screen with those iconic, am I allowed to call them pink? Pink oars?
Cerise.
Okay. Someone might need to check their Pantones. But apparently Cerise, Leander Club on the left, Dartmouth College, USA on the right.
Crew's just getting ready. Both Cox's hands down.
And we're away in the ladies. It's so quiet at the start line before these races, and then the explosion of noise and power as the eights take away from those stake boat holders.
Yeah, you summed it up really well, Sarah. If anybody wants to go take a walk down the path, sit on the start line, especially on some of the eights races, it's ferocious when they get going. But on the start, they're so quiet, and both crews have gone out really hard. They'll rate really high. They'll get up towards the low 50s in some boats, and then they will just start to really lean on it and start to really generate that rhythm that they're going to try and find further as they go up the track.
And maybe just with a slight edge at this stage, it is Leander Club, who had a hard and fast start. But there's a lot of race to play out yet. And they're tough conditions out there, aren't they, Mo? Pretty windy today?
Yeah, pretty windy, and it was a similar conditions to yesterday, and it makes the racing a little bit more competitive, where half a length, three-quarters of a length and an eight maybe is quite a lot to overcome, especially in the ladies and when we see the Grand later today. But in some of the smaller boats, it's much easier for them to regenerate and get faster speed and keep moving and leaning on it into the headwind. And it is about balancing your race as you go down or up the track, and it's just about making sure you're just underneath that red line when you need to be, and then holding on to it, and then finding that real powerful chunky rhythm in the slightly stiffer wind.
And yesterday Dartmouth beat Oxford Brookes University by the B crew by 2 3/4 lengths. They had a fast start and were able to lead off the island. Brookes tried to come back, but Dartmouth's rhythm was very robust against a strong headwind. But they certainly have a much tougher job today up against Leander Club.
Yeah, I followed that race yesterday that I was watching, Dartmouth against Oxford Brookes Uni B, and they were really powerful off the start, and they've tried to replicate that today, but Leander have got their measures so far, and Leander are very experienced in this event. They're previous winners, and it's a club that just brings pedigree, especially at this intermediate level. They're often aspiring under-23 athletes, aspiring to get into that senior setup, and so you often see fantastic crews in the way they're rowing, how sharp they are, how in unison they are with their blades. It's really nice to see, especially as like this is just underneath the premier level. So to see quality like this in the intermediates is very impressive.
Yeah, Leander looking very composed here. Yesterday they beat Thames by 1 3/4 lengths. They were just too strong for Thames and had a commanding lead by the barrier. And we're seeing a very strong turn up here from Leander Club. Really just strong in their rhythm, unfazed. They're looking to take this race with really little focus outside of the boat and what's going on.
And you know what you want to do on a day like today. Semi-finals is always on Saturdays. Can create its own little bit of drama, but what you want to do is put down a marker for the other side of the draw to see the times. Okay, it's a bit windy, there's not going to be records broken today, but you want to be really solid, especially to the barrier, especially to Forley, and then depending upon how your race plan is, you probably will execute it to the enclosures if you've got a comfortable lead. In an 8, it's really hard to overcome a boat's length lead. It can be done, especially if there is a crab, or if there is a clip of water, or maybe even a crash into the booms. But it's very hard to overcome this distance, so Dartmouth have it all to do right now.
Yeah, they still have overlap, so anything can happen here. Do Dartmouth have something in the tank? Have they been saving it? Because they're slowly, it looks to me like they're chipping away at that early lead from Leander. Have Leander done too much too early? There's nothing more deflating than having an 8 start to come back through you. So will we see some stress on the faces of the Leander Club oarsmen? Dartmouth from the USA, one of 42 American crews here. Huge international entry, 35 crews from Australia, 42 from the US, and a host of other nations represented as well. But on their home stretch of water, Leander are going to defend this lead. But here come the USA. I think they've taken another seat, Mo.
Yeah, they have taken another seat, and it's really important. They've got some good experience in the stroke seat. William Bender, he was in the Paris pair. He finished 10th. He's still a student at Dartmouth College, and he's not got the crew in sight, so he's going to have to listen to his cox. He's going to have to understand, but he can really drive that crew on, and that's what he's doing really well. It was almost a boat length lead. I say it's now slightly down to maybe 2/3, maybe even half, so it's really important that Leander know how to respond, and they can respond. It doesn't take much in an 8 to be able just to break through, break clear again, but Dartmouth are really taking it to them as they come into the enclosures.
Here come Dartmouth. They're throwing everything at it now. They've wound it up. They've got the rate up. They are sprinting. Does Leander have a response? Dartmouth, the big green, we can see the back of the Zooties there. They're starting to wind it up, but a response coming from Leander. Leander still defending that lead, Mo.
And that's the luxury that Leander had. When you get out to that boat length lead, even though crews start to come back and they start to attack you, all you need to do is a lift and you can break their resolve, and it happens so quickly. And you've seen that already with the Leander crew. I think they've just done enough. Now Dartmouth are attacking again, and it looks like they're about to a half a length, so it will be interesting coming into the last few hundred meters. But I do think that Leander have done enough.
Listen to the noise from the crowd. They're cheering for the hometown favourites. This is their home stretch of water. Here come Dartmouth. Dartmouth attacking again. They're taking that rate up. They're throwing everything at it. But are they going to run out of water here? Both crews coming down to the line with half a length lead. It is still Leander Club with only a few strokes to go. I think they're going to do it. We see the bowman look across from Leander Club, Jack Pryor. They're going to get there. Bow across the line before the Americans. What a race.
That was a great race. Dartmouth really took it to Leander, and Leander did such a good job of getting out really hard and then staying there. And don't get me wrong, they're pressured. Looking at them now, they are tired, but that's a good way to do your Saturday semi-final.